the mind fixed on the most important thing in creation, the only way is to really work on it. A person wants to be intimate with Baba. A person wants to be intimate with God. What an incredible opportunity to have belief in the God-man, because then it becomes possible to be intimate with God. It becomes possible. What the individual has to, I think, find out for himself is to wake up to the fact that all this talk about God is probably absolutely nothing but talk. All this apparent inspiration about God is not intimacy with God. That's what I believe. I believe that because it is so hard for me, and I believe in God. I believe in Baba being God in human form. And with that conviction, it's still hard. So I cannot help but believe that what appears to be interest by so many in God, and intimacy by so many with God, can't possibly be anything but some kind of an emotion. And of course, we're all familiar with emotions. Now, I'm not saying this in any way to disparage anyone, but I'm pointing up, I think, the rarity of that individual who achieves the slightest success in fixing his mind, you see, on the God-man, in the midst of the tremendous pressures of life, the tremendous distractions that are distractions because that's all you saw for millions of lifetimes. It's got to be that in the midst of sound sleep, your thought shouts at you and tells you you're asleep in the most eloquent way. That's what has to be done. It is so clear to me. It is so clear to me that one does not have Baba except through intense work. You could live with him every single day and it's not enough. You can believe in him 100% and it's not enough. You're not intimate with him because intimacy requires that you love him. You cannot love a stranger. You've got to know and believe with total conviction his concern for you personally. An intimacy that is far, infinitely beyond the intimacy of your own mother, if she happens to be a loving person. Far beyond that. Is that felt about Baba? No. And who, first and foremost, knows that we cannot love him easily? He knows that. He knows that he's the only one that deserves that love. And he knows that he's the only one that doesn't get it. You see? It's not easy, so how can I say anything other than fact that all of these pretensions about love for God are nothing but words? Cannot be. You become a crazy man like Hafiz. You think of nothing else. Night becomes day for you. That love can make midnight the blazing sun of noon. That's what that kind of love. That love transforms everything. Because there's no care about anything. There's no care. When you love, you don't care about less than love. That's why the world becomes an illusion. It becomes only an illusion when one loves because you don't care. That love is not to be had for nothing. It is not to be had for nothing. The conviction about the God-man is just the beginning. So, Baba explains all these things about meditation. He explains all these things about the spiritual path. But nothing of what he explains does anything to make you love him. But he said many times that our inquiring minds demand these answers from him. But at the same time, he made it clear that only holding on to him will enable us to begin to see something more and more about him that will gradually eclipse every other preoccupation that the mind from time immemorial has been fixed on. You see, it's not easy. It's not easy. The quietness of the mind is necessary to become sober for a moment. It's only in soberness, it's only in those few lucid moments when you're quiet that you see the worthwhileness of Baba. Then the world, like the sea, comes rushing in again. And what are you going to do then? See, unless you've learned to float on his reality, what are you going to do except to be drowned, engulfed, inundated? It's very hard. I tell you that because I've struggled very hard in my own way when I believed from the very beginning. But now I see a little daylight. I see a little daylight, and the daylight tells me everything is worthless except trying to find the way to feel his reality, to know his importance in that feeling. And his importance should more than hold you up. It should lift you up. It should lift you up. It should cause you to feel inspired. And it should bring you hope. It should help you much better to cope with all the dreadful things that we have to cope with. The dreadful things are dreadful because we are negative. Negativity is the illusion we call life being too real. Too real. Too real to us means there is nothing else. There is no hope. That's what depression is. There is no hope. No hope that we can become convinced about. Conviction of hope is a feeling. But it must endure. It must be able to withstand the hard knocks of life. That takes work. Like anything that we go after, requiring effort, fixing the mind on it, training, working, spending much time. This is the greatest thing of all, and it's the reason for creation. It must require our time. So when we have been put in that school, where alone it is possible to gain that wisdom, that fixity of mind, that realization of the importance of what we only intellectually know. When we have been put in that school, by that school I mean we are born in a lifetime. That is the time of the God-man. The God-man has come within our lives by somehow convincing us, by somehow drawing us, even the weakest interest in the God-man. By weak I mean we still persist in all of our waywardness, and at the same time we believe this man. That's what I mean by weak. But that is such an extraordinary school to be in, that we have to force ourselves to think about these things so that we will act on this. The world, everything that distracts us, we must come to the place where that very distraction is what forces us to reappreciate the importance of God-man in our lives as the way, the symbol of the ultimate meaning. The appearance of the God-man. The closer you see him, the more you'll appreciate him. He's not alien in all of his divinity, because the very fact that you love these qualities, that you begin to recognize, tells you something about your real self. That's why you love those qualities. So with any understanding at all, there's every reason to be hopeful. And if a person does not feel hopeful at any given moment, that person must realize that he sent his consciousness off on a very, very unpleasant journey. Born by thoughts. Thoughts are always negative. Thoughts are always negative, or they're desire-ridden, or they're anticipating some kind of unfulfilling expectation. I'm going to get something, or I'm going to avoid something, whatever. You see, the thoughts about the God-man, Baba said, regarding everything that he's ever said or written, or all these incidents about his life, it can all be reduced to one thing, one thought. And this is what Baba said: anything that makes you think about me is a good thing. See? Anything. How simple he is. Baba knows everything, he controls everything, but he makes things simple because he knows how difficult it is for us. We must. And what draws us more is when we begin to feel his love. What's what he said? The only way to be intimate with me is to love me and to know that I love you. He's telling you, you can love me. You can know that I love you. But you don't know that now. You are not loving me now. But you will. You will.